Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. No game is left behind. We're having too much fun playing all these classic games. And if you haven't seen what video or a game we're playing, what are you doing? Go on YouTube, check us out, catch up. And we are currently in 1980, October 1980, and the last game we played was Crazy Climber, the excellent, very excellent arcade game. Let's move on to our next game. The next one after Crazy Climber is Indian Battle, also for the arcade. Let's check it out. Let's see what the artwork's like for Indian Battle. This is by Taito, and this advertisement flyer, just like the other Taito ones, has a few screenshots down at the bottom, upright cabinet, and cocktail version, whatever your flavor. Taito's delivered some excellent games, so I'm very interested to see what Indian Battle is like. There's the example of the arcade cabinet, and for controls, it looks like it is our standard shooter at the time, left, right, and fire, taken over from Space Invaders. Everyone's doing left, right, and fire, so it should be a good pick up and play arcade game. There is the arcade marquee for Indian Battle, and it looks like the game is programmed in full color. Excellent. All right, let's see. We do not have a manual for Indian Battle, so we're going right up to the arcade. It is October 1980, playing Indian Battle in the arcade by Taito. There you go. We got it all. And it's programmed in full color, so no overlays. But I am seeing, if you notice that each level of the screen has different color, it means it was programmed to have a certain scan line to have a certain color, which saves on memory. And the track mode is giving us points. Looks like the Flying Bird is 200. The Tonto on a horse is 150. Indian is 100. I guess a skeet shot is some other points. And then we have an axe and an arrow. And to get extra life, we get 5,000 points. And then we get another life. There it is, Indian Battle. You can see the colors change as it moves up on the screen. I want to see if we have a different view or different artwork, just in case. Looks like, okay, yeah, that is it. So this would be what you'd see just around the screen if you were in front of the arcade cabinet. All right, let's put a quarter in and see what happens. And I push start. Oh, we getting sound effects too. Nice. Music in the background. And just like any other of, they got me down with the hatchet. Just like any other shooter at the time, I can only shoot one thing at a time before I can use my next bullet. And that time the Indian ran right into me. So we're basically playing cowboys and Indians in the arcade in 1980. Yeah, they're hiding behind the cactus. Oh, they move really fast too. Oh yeah, faster than me. The Indians won. Game over. All right, let's do it again. Insert another coin and push start. That's exactly what it feels like. A Western theme, because I'm at the bottom shooting everything at the top, but there's no aliens. They're using a better sprite work than that. There we go. Yes. I like that we have a ditty in the background. They're getting few and far between, so any games that have that sound fantastic. Come on. There we go. Okay, doing better than last time. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the scorpion, though. Okay, good. You just got to move out of the way. And it looks like it takes 2 shots for the guys in the back on horseback. Oh my gosh, yeah, and you see they added somebody popping out of the ground. Oh man. Alright, so going again. Oh, I can't shoot him behind the cactus, okay. Nice, they're hiding, but I can still pop them from back there. Oh, nice, there we go. And the ditty, the music in the background speeds up as I get faster and faster. I can't. He gets the scorpion and he just shakes around. That's awesome. There we go. All right, so I made it through 1 round successfully. Oh, they're just adding an extra. The stagecoach is trying to keep me from shooting them. But it's essentially a fixed shooter, but it's nice playing it from a perspective as a person running around. The only other game I can think of that's using a 2-dimensional person on this plane was a Cheeky Mouse that we played earlier. I wasn't paying attention on that one. Yeah, the viewpoint is like from the top of a hill, I guess, looking down. All right, there it is, the end of my quarter. I'll go ahead and put another one in, another coin in, and push and start. Got to go for that high score. Haven't even gotten the 5,000 for the extra life. Oh man, so fast. Now, we haven't seen it yet. There's the ZX Spectrum. It's going to be released in Europe. The graphics remind me of what you see on the ZX Spectrum. So not something that's out yet, but I'm getting vibes of that graphic as I get hatcheted. Okay, there we go. But it plays really well. Smooth controls, very simple for the time, and gets the job done. The speed up, it feels like I'm playing the game fast forward. All right, so if you're just joining us, this is Indian Battle, released in 1980, October 1980 in the arcades. And I will not get hatcheted this time. Oh no. And I will get the Condor. Yes, there we go. If you get the Scorpion, just shake him off. It'll be all right. You're getting stung repeatedly, but you'll be okay. There we go. We got it. All right, so for all the games we've seen, most of the shooters take place in planes. We've seen a couple in subs, but the side view of running left, I know we're only running left and right, but the fact that we're playing as a person moving left and right on that 2D plane, there's only one other game I can think of we played that's done that. Maybe someone will invent jumping in the video games. Maybe. What's crawling out of the ground, I don't know. I know there's a scorpion that was running across, but it looked like an Indian was popping up out of the ground. Maybe. Not too sure. All right, so that was Indian Battle. Excellent, excellent. So for the time, pretty standard from what we've seen. I'm going to go ahead and give that one around the average range, 2.5, 3. Considering we've seen other games that were shooters that include upgrades or something that makes it improve upon what you're seeing. So we're going to go ahead and give that one 3 stars, perfectly average for the time of 1980. All right, let's move on to our next game. The very next game is Moon Quasar. It's a shooter. I bet we move left, right, and fire. So we're still in the arcades. Let's take a look at the artwork for Moon Quasar. This one is by Nichibutsu. They just released Crazy Climber in the arcades before. Yes, not King and Balloon. Sadly, no. Our company is in trouble with enemies' persistent attack. Rockets succeeded in landing at station. Start out a counterattack. By Nihon Busan, Nichibutsu. There's the example of the arcade cabinet for Moon Quasar. And yes, for controls, it's left, right, and fire. And for full color, yes, I'm getting vibes of Galaxian and Moon Cresta for the way it looks, which we've already seen. All right, so no manual for this one. We're just going to step up to the arcades and play. It's October 1980. This is Moon Quasar, released by Nichibutsu. So there you go with some artwork on the sides. Moon Quasar. It looks a lot like Moon Cresta, the same star field in the background scrolling. Yeah, I'm wondering if it is a rename or not. Moon Quasar sounds kind of like Moon Cresta, but from what I'm seeing on the game is playing differently. I'm just checking out the attract mode to see what it looks like. Oh, I wonder if that's the boss. Oh, it is. Yes, it's a reskinned. Yes. See the triple ships? So it's just a clone or copy, if you will, of Moon Cresta, which I think this is the second one we've seen. Since Galaxian, well, I guess in Space Invaders, everyone's going to copy the shooter, and then Galaxian pushed it a notch above, and now we got Moon Cresta, and now we're going to have people that push and try to copy that. This one looks exactly the same, though. All right, so let's put a quarter in and see what it's like, and push and start. There it is. Yes, it is Moon Cresta. A different skin, but essentially the same. I'm wondering if it's the exact copy or not. It looks like colors are different. No, enemies are different. These aren't the same enemies, but it's the same idea. But sound effects, though, man, are so classic. Love the explosion. Excellent. Oh, that's cool. Seeing the ships go further in the distance is awesome. So just like Moon Cresta, you get an upgrade for your ship. The longer you last, you dock the upgrade, and then you're able to shoot more. Notice I have 2 shots now. And we've seen the arcade scene get progressively harder and harder as far as difficulty with locations of the ships, how they move. But this plays great, just like exact Moon Cresta. So here we go. We're going to do the refuel. Let's see how this one works. Oh, it's doing it backwards. I have to get up to the ship this time. Okay, so the other Moon Cresta version we played has us going down to the docking station. Yeah, this has another gimmick. I'm not familiar with the popularity of Moon Quasar. Because, of course, when we came across Galaxian, that was the bigger title. And then Moon Cresta I had heard of, but Moon Quasar, no. And there's another clone we had that was essentially exactly the same thing. This one actually is switching out the sprites for the enemies. The attack patterns are a little different, and then they reversed how we dock or refuel. Oh no, you're not getting me. I still have 1 shot at a time, but I do have the dual shot, like an upgrade for your ship. So excellent. So here we go, same thing. Using lever and button. Docking of rockets. Okay, it does have the docking one, so it's got 2 different ones. It has refuel and docking. Easy there, buddy. There we go. Right on. Right on. Got the docking bonus, so now we get the upgrade of shots. Can we shoot? Yes, now we can shoot 2 at once. Fantastic. After all the shooters we played, we can only shoot 1 at a time. Oh, I can't believe I lost it. Shooting 2 at a time feels too much power. Too much power. They give us the dead at the end. That's awesome. All right, so you get to put in our name for the high score. Love it. And they give a time limit. You can only put a certain time limit before you put your name in. Sweet. So just a notch different than Moon Cresta. Just a notch. But plays really, really well. Let's do it again. Let's put a quarter in and push start. So if it's October 1980, we learned that Empire Strikes Back was released in May of this year, and there's a lot of things that are happening in the entertainment space. Oh, I do get 2 shots still. Oh, awesome. Okay, so there's a lot of things happening in the entertainment space that's influencing the video game industry, obviously. We haven't seen too many licensed games. Once we get to the middle of the 80s, we're going to have so many licensed games, we won't know what to do with them. But until that moment, there's still a lot of things that are influencing the video game world. And at this point, the shooter is still king in the arcades. Oh, man. But getting the hang of how it feels and the movement of the ships. This isn't crazy hard like some of the other ones we played, like Devil Zone and the one we played a couple episodes back. I don't remember the name. All right, let's do it. Refuel. And almost non-stop music the whole... Oh! I thought you could refuel a little easier, but I wasn't paying attention to it. Alright, so I still have now a dual shot, but only 1 shot at a time that I can shoot. Alright, here we go. For someone who mostly played Galaxian and Galaga, I'm getting vibes of the enemies in this game of Galaga, and we haven't seen Galaga yet. Okay, here we go. I want to make sure I get this dock. I love this gimmick because it's like a lunar lander cutscene, or you're playing 2 different games at once, which is awesome. Right on! And of all the games we played, this one, just like Moon Cresta, has so much music happening. Sound effects, constant, so big hit for the arcades. Oh yeah, the action is excellent. So quick. Starfield moving in the background is awesome. Alright, here we go. Not going to blow up the refuel. I don't think I can refuel a ship this big, though. I'm digging the tunes in the back. Alright, so slow down, stop. No! I couldn't stop the retro rockets from firing. Yeah, I love that risk reward of you're a bigger target, you can shoot more. And is that... Oh, it is game over. Okay. Did I do better? Let's do better next time. Alright, so that was Moon Quasar. That is a blast. Obviously a clone of Moon Cresta, which we saw earlier. We're going to go give that one a higher rating. This one is our, like, pushes all boundaries of video games. And not only is just a good game, but is the best thing you could play. Because we gave Moon Cresta 5, we're going to give this one 4.5. Because it's still up there with how well it plays. But it's so close that we're just going to give it a one notch below. But still excellent. Excellent game. I know, we're just trying to refuel. Okay, so moving on to our next game. We're still hanging out in the arcades in 1980. This is N-Sub. The letter N-Sub. Let's see what the artwork's like for N-Sub. This is by Sega. Sega Service Games. Enemy ahead. Sink the enemy fleet that attacks with missiles, torpedoes, and depth bombs. Beware the loop attack by the enemy destroyers, a thrilling battle in sparkling cobalt blue waters against enemy surface ships and submarines. So for play instructions, you maneuver the N-Sub with control lever and sink the enemy fleet with torpedo fire. Torpedoes can be fired vertically or horizontally. First time we've seen that. By 2 separate fire buttons. First time we've seen 2 separate fire buttons. 3 torpedoes can be fired in rapid succession, keeping the button depressed. Enemy ships attack the N-Sub with missiles, torpedoes, and depth bombs. Depth bombs? Really? I thought they were depth charges, but anyway. One round is over after the attack by the enemy fleet of 12 ships, and you get bonus points if you get 12 ships and the destroyer is destroyed. And, of course, more score gives you an extra player. Cool. Thanks, advertisement flyer. That would be the first time we've seen an advertisement flyer that actually tells us how to play the game. Most of the time it's advertising to whoever owns the arcade. There's the example of the arcade cabinet. And a terrible picture of the control panel, but you can see we got 2 attack buttons and then what looks like an 8-way joystick, which would be rare for the time. So yeah, it looks like we got fire up, fire down, and there's the arcade marquee for N-Sub by Sega. Full color game, and looks like this will be the one, I'm wondering if we're playing the one from Japan. Let's take a look at the manual for N-Sub. This is the service manual and parts catalog. Do they have anything more about N-Sub besides how to assemble it? Looks like only schematics. Yeah, so right there, if you were paying attention, you now know how to assemble the N-Sub arcade cabinet. It's October 1980. We're playing N-Sub by Sega in the arcades. Oh, nice. So there's only 1 or 2 other games I can think of that are using the color gradient, showing off how much color can be displayed on the screen. Very, very impressive. Way to go, Sega. Let's put a quarter in and see what N-Sub is like. Hit ships to score points. Ooh, there's a mystery ship. So we've pushed start button. We're now playing the game. We have our vertical or horizontal and vertical shots. So moving around, it looks like, yes, I got an 8-way feel for the controls. And I have enemies down below and enemies up high. And do the shots, yes, they do. They go off in the distance like we saw with other submarine simulation games in the 70s. So they're blending 2 different elements. It's obviously still a shooter, but we have more range of motion. Our submarine can move all around. And I'm not getting any sound effects. So he came out of left field on that one. So if you don't need to adjust the volume, I'm not getting anything either from my side. So either the game is not emulated. Oh, I can see that fast one. That's the mystery ship. They didn't tell us what the points were for that one. But we got different ships in the distance we can hit, just like in the other submarine simulation games. Oh, a wider explosion. Okay, cool. But it is devoid of that sound. So the sound effects may not be coming from, or at least emulated in the system. So we're missing the explosions and that classic arcade sound. It's not there. Oh, yeah, it's way too fast. You got to think way ahead for that guy. I really enjoy all the sub games, the way that they give you more range of motion in the water instead of just moving left and right. So fun. Essentially still just a fixed shooter. Oh, here comes the big one. There we go. Blow him out of the water. Let me see if I can get... I don't think I can get that extremely fast one. He's crazy. Oh, and they even have a wide explosion when they blow up. So you got to watch out for their explosion after you hit them. There we go. Oh, I can't believe I'm missing the ones in the back. Yeah, the timing's totally different. That ship goes by way too fast. That's the mystery ship. Can anyone hit it? Now, there was a game on Sega that we didn't get to play in the arcades because it was... oh, they started to speed up the game on us. Because it was transistor to transistor logic, it was the Silent Scope game, which was one of the first ones to ever be distributed in Japan over to North America or the naval bases. And so we weren't able to play that one just because it's all mechanical. It's not a video game that uses a microprocessor. But Sega has been around for a very long time. Even though on this channel we haven't seen as much Sega, we're obviously going to see way more later. But this game is a great rendition for the arcade. Plays really well. The color is something to point out because the last game we played that had this variant showing off the color is rare. Not many games from all the games we play are going to have this for a while. All right, so that was in sub. Excellent, excellent. So for the time, it's still about average, typically what we'd see. Because it's not offering any game modes, lots of variety, it's still pretty standard for what we'd see for the time for 1980. So we're going to give that one 3 stars. Plays very, very well. And I know that we had the color gradient for our background, but as far as how it's programmed, it's still simple color graphics. So nothing too fancy or crazy there. But great job for Sega. I dig it. All right, let's move on to our next game. After In Sub, we have Tank Battalion in the arcades. So a string, I'm not planning this stuff. We played a bunch of strings of Apple II games, and now we're playing a string of arcade games. Just happened to be for the release date. All right, so let's see the artwork. This is Tank Battalion, presented by Namco, and this arcade flyer is the German flyer, which I'm sure it was released in other countries, but that's the only one I was able to find for Tank Battalion. And there's the example of the arcade cabinet for Tank Battalion. Kind of a bad picture of the arcade cabinet. There's our arcade PCB, and then for control panel, looks like we have a joystick with fire. Oh, okay, it's one fire button, and then move up, down, left, and right for controls. And then there's the arcade marquee. Awesome. Different companies on the side there. It says Game Plan, if that is the name of the company. And then screenshot is top-down tank game. We've seen that since the 70s. And for other versions, looks like we got a bootleg version we could play. We're going to play the release that came out in October 1980. So this is Namco's Tank Battalion. This would be Namco's first foray into a top-down tank game. Your mission, destroy enemy tanks and defend our statue. So we're going through the attract mode. We got some excellent artwork around the sides of what you'd see if you were playing it in the arcades. And actually, we've seen this game before. This is another reskin of another game we've played, I think, by Namco. So it was either last year or the beginning of this year. And so this is a different name for it. Let me see if we have different artwork that we can pull up. Let's see. We got, oh, okay, the full artwork, which includes the control panel at the bottom. We'll go ahead and do the zoomed in, artwork on the side. I was going to see if they changed the name so we could see the alternate name for it. But let's go ahead and put a quarter in and push and start. So Tank Battalion may have been the Namco release for it. Yeah, it's a top-down tank game. The last one we played, I think, only had control for human players, not for computer-controlled tanks like this one. But what's really cool is, you notice I shot a corner of the wall out. I want to see, yeah, the the landscape is destructible, which is awesome. That's a great plus. And considering it, the other tank games we played, this is one of the first. There was another one that's the clone of this, but the destructible walls really adds to it. Every time you shoot, and the computer-controlled tanks are shooting the walls out too. It's awesome. I'm not really playing it super... Oh, there we go. I can dodge their bullet there. But it is only giving me a 4-way joystick control. Game over. What? Oh, we're supposed to... Oh, I see. If they destroy the golden statue, then that's the game over. So I didn't defend it very well. And that was my 1 quarter. After they capture the golden statue, then it's done. All right, let's put another quarter in and give it another shot. Pushing start button on Tank Battalion by Namco. We're in October 1980, playing every single video game. Checking out some video games, and then really exploring some video games, depending on what kind of quality they are. This one is excellent. The fact that you can shoot the walls out makes it a lot of fun. I don't know, it looks like there isn't a second player, at least on the control panel. We didn't see a second joystick. So the only way you play is shooting the other tanks and then making sure you guard the golden statue at the bottom so it doesn't get taken. So I'm going to do a better job defending this. And we can only shoot 1 shot at a time before we can reshoot, like most of the shooters we've seen. It does feel a little jerky with the 4-way control, but that's standard. The 4-way joystick was the usual. Oh my gosh, they're already going to get it. No, they already got it, and that's game over. Because they can come from anywhere on the map, they can just appear on one of the sides and take it out. All right, let's put another quarter in and push start. We got all the money we need in the arcades in 1980. All right, here we go. This time they will not get the golden statue. I don't know why the golden statue gives me vibes of Wolfenstein, and the top-down view also. Like they're going for my Nazi gold. Come on. By the way, it is 1980. We are going to see Muse Software's Castle Wolfenstein at some point. No, don't take it. Okay, good. So they got a piece of it. It's blinking. I don't know if that means it's taken yet. Okay, I think we're good for now. No, they got me on that one. How many lives do I get on 1 quarter? Okay, so I can keep going. Once they take the statue, though, it's game over. You lose it all. Yeah, the spawn rate is a little crazy, but still, for what we've seen for the time, this is excellent. Namco is on a roll. We're going to see one of the biggest games ever coming up soon. If you already know what it is, go ahead and shout it out. Come on, no. Okay, cool. That's cool. You can use your bullet to cancel a shot. This guy's going way too close. So if you notice how when I move the tank, the range of motion I have is because the 4-way joystick. No, he got me. So maybe I'll get 3 lives. We'll see if I can keep playing it or not. Come on, let's go. Yeah, you can see I'm using my bullet to cancel out their shots. Come on. Nope, he's going to go... Move! Get down there, no! Yep, he got it. Yep, there it is. Just like that. They took my golden statue. Alright, so that was Tank Battalion. Thank you for playing Tank Battalion. So out of 5 stars, that is above average. We've seen tank games before. The destructible environments is a plus, but the top-down is something that we've usually seen. So obviously you can play this at home on your Atari 2600 with combat and with multiple game modes and so forth. So we're going to go and give this one 3.5, which is above average for the time. Great job, Tank Battalion. All right, so let's move on and play our next game. Next one coming up is still in the arcades. This is Space Tactics with the same German advertisement flyer, the only one I could find. Let's take a look at the artwork. Here it is, Space Tactics. Okay, we got 2 different ones. So there's the German advertisement flyer by Sega, and wow, look at the arcade cabinet on the front of that. It's got the whole cockpit view going for like controlling a spaceship. That's awesome. I love those. And here we go. Another advertisement flyer, possibly the North American release. Or I'm looking at the bottom. It has Sega Enterprises, Gremlin Industries, and Sega Europe Limited on the release. And for Space Tactics, it says high-skilled TV game that will guarantee repeat plays and brimming cash boxes. Sega Space Tactics brings you excitement and thrills on a grand scale with attacking army of UFOs from outer space, a realistic cockpit for dynamic driving skill, and outstanding real-life 3D effect. Wait, driving skill? I thought we're flying a spaceship. Maybe it's the same arcade cabinet that was used for a driving game? So it shows all the features that include with this arcade cabinet. And then there it is. The arcade cabinet looks like a spaceship. That is awesome. We've seen other space flying games that are simulating it, but they were either standing up or they were in the cockpit, but you couldn't, they didn't have this. This is the full experience of sitting in the cockpit. Single player only. It doesn't even look like there's room for anyone else to sit in there. You're alone in your pod shooting everybody out. Yeah, I love the kind of immersion they have, getting you in, like you're there. You want to be in that place. And this is one of the first times we're getting to experience that, because we had another release called Monaco GP that was doing the same thing, sitting like in a car. And Sega's going to continue to do that, especially in the arcade scene. So there's the example of the control panel. You have the handle like you're controlling a spaceship. Most of the buttons look like it's just there for show. It's not they're not functioning, but it just makes it look like you're in, or feel like you're in a cockpit of a spaceship. Oh, never mind. We have a lot of buttons. I was wrong. We got 2 base missiles, 3 missile buttons, an energy barrier, and a fire button with an 8-way joystick. Oh, I guess it's going to be a controller, like you're controlling a cockpit. Space Tactics. So for screenshots, looks like it's a full color video game. And let's take a look at the manual for Space Tactics. Here's the owner's manual. You got a UFO shooting everybody out. I get Missile Command vibes from that screenshot. So Space Tactics by Gremlin Sega. Owner's manual. Let's see what we got. Introduction and game concept right at the top. Awesome. So how to use the manual, we don't need to know that, but for game concept, Space Tactics is the newest video game from Gremlin Sega. It's a sit-down-style game surrounding the player with the game action. The objective of the game is to destroy the attacking spaceships one by one in order to defend the 5-player bases at the bottom of the screen. At the beginning of each game, the player's bases are armed with 1 missile each. I'm getting Missile Command vibes. You have to keep your bases alive to shoot. They are controlled by 5 red switches on the game front panel. Moving the steering handle, make sure we get our vernacular right. The player aims their laser beam at the enemy ships. Their aim must be exact to destroy the ships. The handle allows the player to aim at all parts of the screen. At the game's beginning, the player receives 4 to 6 base barrier defenses. They must use them carefully throughout the game. The base barrier is a yellow arc that runs over the player's bases and prevents enemy bombs from reaching the bases. Yes, I'm totally with you. The player must destroy all enemy ships in each round to advance to the next round. Each of the 3 kinds of enemy ships is worth a different point value, depending on the round. Okay, yep, I kind of get that part. And then you can put in different coins and credits, extended play feature. Okay, that's awesome. So it's almost like we're doing a first-person Space Invaders. That's a rough first impression. So the rest of the manual is going to go through inspection, game setup, making sure you have all the parts and so forth. We won't go through that one. All right, let's check it out. It is October 1980. We're playing Space Tactics by Sega in the arcade. Here we go. So this one, we got even the control panel showing you the energy button. I want to see what controls we have, because that was a lot of buttons. So it looks like we got the up, down, left, and right. And yes, we have 6 buttons that we can control. So I was wrong. Every other panel we've seen, control panel for these kinds of games, put things there for show. This is functional buttons. So I have 6 buttons, or wait, I have 7 different buttons I can use besides the start button on the system. So this will be interesting. Let's go ahead and first start with pushing Actually, let's see what the attract mode's like to see what happens. So you can see right here we have our bases at the bottom, and then here is an example of what the control panel will show us, like our energy barrier, what round we're on, and then our score, and we'd see this displayed on the control panel if we were sitting in the cockpit. Everything here would be the television, what would be programmed in for the game. So we have our bases there, we have a barrier that's protecting us, and then we have a shot. I'm guessing that's going to be controlled by the, what did the manual call it? The hand controller. And we'll use that to aim and shoot everything. So it looks like it's even shooting out the letters in the attract mode, which is a nice touch. But you can see missiles come down, and we're just supposed to defend them, keeping our bases alive. Similar to Missile Command. I guess that's where we're going to house all the missiles we can fire. All right, so let's put a quarter in and see what it's like. There's our first quarter, and pushing start. Good luck. Oh, wow, the full range of motion for shots. So I have lasers that can shoot here. I have my barrier, that there's my shield, so I can raise my shields if I need to bring my shields up and down. And then I have, I got a full shot I can shoot from each cannon. Oh, and it's only one each. You notice whenever it shoots off, that's it. I can't shoot it anymore. But I didn't see it destroy anything when I shot the cannon off. I also don't see, is it C? It is, okay. I also didn't see, maybe the cannon is used against the missile barrages. I see. So I've already shot all mine off just because I want to see what would happen if I shot them. But I'm not getting any sound effects. So the emulation is not giving us sound, music, or sound effects from anything. I could just imagine this with the speakers on the side, sitting in the cockpit, and it going really, really loud, especially for the arcades. So it's possible that the sound was going through the arcade cabinet itself and not the arcade, not the PCB. It just blew itself up. So to go on the next round, does that mean, yes, I blew all my shots in the beginning because I wanted to see what would happen, and now I can't use them again, and I have to rely on just the laser fire. And the bottom left is showing a display of our energy barrier, what we have left to play, and then it's showing us we're on the second round. So really cool that we got that to come through. We can see the same thing you'd see on the control panel. And the multiple shots fired is awesome. Playing from a first person view is excellent. It's not the first, but it plays very, very well. Yeah, you can see our energy barrier is going down. We got a crazy UFO going for a kamikaze mission. I want to take out this green guy. He's wily. Come on, get him. Get that guy. Go, go. I can't believe I'm missing him so much. Maybe because he's so far in the distance. He's only going in circles, people. He's not really playing a detailed pattern here. I got him up so close, he still pulled us and blew us up. But I still have 3 bases, so we're still going. That's true, yes. The other one we played was Galaxy Force. It had lots of light-up effects. We still had some sound that came with it. But when you don't have the sound that goes with it, you don't get the full experience. We try to get as much as we can, but sometimes, sadly, you have to have that arcade cabinet. You have to be able to be sitting there playing it yourself. Wow, I can't believe it didn't blow up that base. We're not going to fault it for the rating, though. If it's sound-wise, because we know it does have sound. Just because we don't have it emulated or can't simulate what we'd be experiencing in the arcades, I'm not going to fault the game for it, because I know it's there. Oh. Now what's happening with our energy barrier? Yeah, it's still up. What happens if I push the... Oh, I can power it back on. That's awesome. So I turned it off and then turned it back on, and it gave us another one. Give me the shots. Now, to play this in the arcades, man, would have been so cool. Because they didn't say the specifications of the size of the screen, but to have things flying at you while you're shooting them with a controller, so cool. It would have been awesome. Go! I've already lost all my major missiles, because I didn't know from the beginning that what button was going to shoot which one. Oh, you can see now, but I got my energy barrier back up by lowering it and raising it again. Oh, they got one. Okay, so we're down to 2 bases at the bottom. Now, I thought the bases would be controlling our firepower, similar to Missile Command, but it's not. It's actually only controlling... Oh, this is going to go down fast. I got to get this big guy out of the way. There we go. So it's not controlling our laser fire. It's only each base is controlling one giant like photon torpedo that attacks. You just want to be able to get these guys taken care of before they get too close, because then they start dropping the major bombs and then your base goes down. But big shame without the audio. Without any sound effects, I'm expecting this to be so loud. Explosions everywhere, laser fire. We've had other games that were trying to copy Star Wars, obviously, and they had loud laser fire, photon torpedoes, shots, explosions. There we go. Okay, so let's see if I move the... Okay, it didn't. It's just letting me bring my shield back up. Yeah, so I can just bring it back up. It looks like I'm not getting a penalty unless I'm using points. Does it cost points to do that? Let me see. No, it doesn't. I can bring my shield right back up, and it works just fine. Now, we didn't look at the specification to see if this is the kind of cockpit that would rotate like Galaxy Force 2, but I could easily see it by the way it looked. This plays very well, though, just like the other first-person space shooters we've seen. And I'm getting the same vibes like Space Invaders. The aliens are coming. They're getting closer and closer. And you can get the tension of, oh, I got to shoot these guys down quick before I die. Well, I'm first amazed I'm lasting so long. I've used 1/4, and with 1/4, I'm still going and haven't died yet. And I can just bring my shield right back up. As long as that last base is up, I'm still playing the game. So you just keep playing and keep enjoying that arcade experience of being in the cockpit. Even when they do their zigzag motion, it's like it's giving me credit for shooting them down, and I get the points for it. And there is a little bit of timing on the depth. Like whenever you shoot, your lasers have a little bit of time to get there, and you have to time based on how far away they are to get them. All right, that was Space Tactics. It was like a blend of Space Invaders with some of the other arcade experiences we've played from a first-person perspective, but it's done very, very well. I'm not going to fault it for the sound effects because I'm sure they were excellent, but we're going to go and give that one a 4-star rating. I'm thinking I'm not going to go up to 4.5 because it's not doing something new. We've seen this several times before, but I'm going to go ahead and give that one 4 stars for Space Tactics. Really cool and great presentation with the cockpit. Love it. All right, so moving on to our next game. After Space Tactics, we have, it's horse racing, everyone's favorite, on the Intellivision. This is not going to help you beat out Atari, Mattel, just so you know. All right, let's take a look at the artwork for horse racing. Is it just a betting game, or do you actually control the horses? Looks like they have placed bets, but if it is just straight betting, then forget it. Day at the races as you watch a stable of electronic thoroughbreds run 10 times. Oh no, it really is. 6 people can play a great party game. Everyone gather around. We're going to play horse racing on our Intellivision. How to impress all your friends. So I guess the overlay, this is the overlay for the Intellivision controller. The keypad, you slide it over the top and then you just bet on each horse, I'm guessing. It's got to be just that. I don't think we're going to control the horses. And if it is just betting, we're just going to breeze right by. The manual will tell us, are we only betting on horses? So for game controls, if you're not familiar with the Intellivision, you had an overlay you slid over the keypad, and every single button on the keypad had a corresponding action based on whatever the overlay had. So it shows, is it just betting? No way, this is not a party game. We're not going to, yeah, it is. It's only betting on horses. There is no controlling or using horses, so we're going to give it a fat 0. Sit around with your friends and bet on horses on the Mattel Intellivision. So that was a fast one. Let's move on to our next game. After that, our next game is also on the Intellivision. This is Sea Battle. Let's take a look at the artwork for Sea Battle on Mattel's Intellivision. Excellent artwork, as always, trying to compete with Atari's artwork. If anyone can do it, Mattel can do it. We are currently in the very first console war between Intellivision and Atari. I would give Atari the upper hand, though, not just because of the Atari 2600, but because they've taken the computer space as well. They have the Atari 400 and 800 home computer, which is going to end up being their next console, the Atari 5200. All right, so this is the back of the box for Sea Battle. Battle action on the high seas, deploy fleet of ships, lay mines, use diversion tactics. It's your strategy and skill on the line. Engage in sea combat and battle it out. Go full ahead to capture opponent's home base victory. And there's a chart that shows the full view of the ocean, deploy fleets and move around the islands toward enemy harbor, and then a chart that shows zoom in for battle action, analyze enemy strength, aim the crosshair, and fire. Very interesting. Because if this is a strategy game, this would be one of the first strategy games we've seen for a home console. It looks like we have deploying your fleet out, protecting your harbor, and then getting back to the home base to deploy a stronger fleet. So if this would be the first console strategy game we've ever played on the channel. All right, so there is the overlay. Gotta have that overlay over your keypad or you won't know what to do. So it looks like we got different transports we can send out. Aircraft carrier, troop transport. Yes, that's right. They haven't done the eye magic yet. We haven't seen them yet. The only third-party person we've seen so far has been Activision. Activision had Dragster, which we're going to see a little bit later because we don't know exactly when it was released. But we saw Fishing Derby by Activision. So the only third party so far has been Activision. All right, so engage retreats. So we'll need this overlay, and hopefully it'll be displayed when we boot our game up. There's the example of the cartridge for Sea Battle. And then for screenshots, yeah, full on color. Looks Intellivision's already had Atari beat with graphics. I'll give them that. Okay, so for the manual, it is a homebrew manual. General quarters, all hands, man your battle stations, enemy ships off the port bow, you and your opponent are warring fleet admirals. So, first question, is it 2 players, and do you have to have a second player, or does it not work correctly? So they're going to give us controls. The side buttons is to aim, identify enemy targets, and then the lower side buttons is to fire. The controller on the Intellivision had the numpad on front, and then the sides you could push buttons. So, and then the disc moves your squadron. Looks like there's different battle phases, and yes, it is a strategy game. You use home bases shown on their TV screen in different colors on opposite sides of the island-dotted ocean. Players deploy fleets of ships from their harbor, lay mines, maneuver battle positions, and then the strategy phase, all ships are in the same shape. You differentiate one navy from another. Fleet that hits the islands or sides of the TV screen stop and wait for your direction. There's no damage to a fleet hitting land in this phase. And then there's the combat phase. In the combat phase, the battle zone and one ship from enemy navy are enlarged on your screen. Opponents engage in ship-to-ship warfare, so it possibly would be action-based, based on where the ships are. Keep ships away from land. In this phase, running aground will damage, possibly sink the ship. So it's showing all the different characteristics of the ships you'll have control of. Yeah, you have an aircraft carrier, a troop transport, battleships, submarines, destroyers, PT boats, and then different weapons like mines, minesweepers to check for mines. This is awesome. For a home console game, we've seen extremely detailed strategy and tactical games for the Apple II, but this is the first time a console has attempted to do a strategy game. And if the combat mode has attacking, that's an even bonus. It's like a real-time strategy game, but we'll see how it plays out. So it's giving examples of what the mines, guns, and torpedoes do. And just like you that's tuning in, this is my first time playing most of these games, so I'm not going to be the expert at how to play them. It's more of just getting a feel of what they're like, how they play, and then based how the games are played on everything else we've seen before. Because this is the first time. It's like we're playing Sea Battle in 1980 when it was first released. We went to the store, we got Sea Battle, and now we're checking it out. All right, so tap the direction disc once, and the strategy phase chart appears on your TV screen. The sonar beeps, and you get in the mood for Sea Battle. So it's telling you how to play. This will be the first thing we see. And then now we form our fleet. You press Create, and you can enter 1 to 3 ships and press Deploy. The first fleet now appears in your harbor. If you change your mind before pressing Deploy, just press Create and begin again. All ships look alike. Remember which ships you deploy. Oh, great. So even though we deploy a battleship and a sub, they're going to look the same on the screen. That's going to be interesting. All right, so press the edge of the direction disc, move the fleet out of your harbor, and then engage in battle. So we'll revert back to the manual whenever we need it. We didn't have the original manual, which is interesting. We try to get as many original manuals as we can. Wonder if it exists or not. All right, so let's pop it in. Our Intellivision. It is October 3rd, 1980, and this is Sea Battle for the Mattel Intellivision. Yes, so we got our overlay on the far left side showing us how to play, and it explained that we just move the disc, and I just moved the disc like it instructed. We now have the full side, and I want to do create, so I pull up my number pad. I have to know what create is, so I push it on the number pad, and then I push... I want to do an aircraft carrier, so I'm going to do that. And let's do deploy and see if it works. It does, so I'm in the top right up on this side. Now, this possibly means I don't have a computer opponent. So I'm plugging in a second Intellivision controller and doing the same for them. I have to get them to get down to their side, and they hit create on their keypad, and then they hit, let's do aircraft carrier too. And then deploy the aircraft carrier, and there it is. Okay, so if you didn't have the manual, and I was one of those people who would find these in yard sales or garbage bins and just have a cartridge. I popped these cartridges in for Intellivision, and I had no idea how to play, because even if you have the controller in front of you and you don't have that overlay, you don't know what the corresponding buttons are going to do. So now if we are ready, then I wonder if I just do engage to say I'm ready, and then the other person says they hit engage and they are ready. Do we go into combat? Oh, we don't. Okay, so we don't go yet because you have to be placed next to him. So if you look in the top right, I've moved my aircraft carrier around, and now I can deploy it, put it where it needs to go. So it's not using what we've seen on the computer, which is a grid or similar to a board game. This is translating into you're actually moving something around. I'm using the disc of the controller of the Intellivision and moving it around. So I have my aircraft carrier. I'm moving it close. I'm going to go and do the same for the second player. So no computer. Got to use the second player. Let's see what happens when we get close enough to each other. What happens? So if we hit the wall, I guess it just waits for another command. There we go, yep. So it starts the siren. And are we now engaged in combat? Does it go to the combat screen is what I want to know. Oh, let me see if I do it on this one. It looks like it gave us an alarm that we were close. Okay, so yeah, you had to go on your keypad and say engage. And now that we're engaged, it works. We have the two ships that are attacking each other, and now you can use the yes, you can use the fire button on the side. So the side of the controller gives you an option for how you're supposed to shoot. And you can see I'm using my shot. Very cool. Okay, so I got to explain how this control works. I have two sides of the Intellivision controller. I push one button for an aim, and I move that aim around, and whenever I aim where I want to go, I push the opposite side, and that's what fires the shot. Oh, it looks like it wasn't close enough for that one. So you move hold down the first button, and then when you get close enough, boom, you make the shot. So cool. And I can do the same for the second player. It's kind of hard to play two at once, but yeah, and then you're going against each other, going each attack. Let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, and you have to aim it and get them on the spot. Yes. So after 3 hits, then they go down. And so that means, do I now do retreat? I don't do retreat. It automatically brings us out of the screen. And so you and 2 people. This is awesome. If you had 2 people to play this, you get to determine which ships you deploy, and you have to remember they're all going to look the same on this map, but you'll know which ships you have. You deploy them where you want to, and then the other person's going to deploy ships, but you won't know what they have. Only they'll know because they're pushing them on the keypad. So you got a little reconnaissance work where you can push them there and deploy all the ships you want, and then put them all over the map, and then go for a battle. And you actually go in and engage in battle. I wonder if you can have more than one ship on the battlefield, or you can only control 1 versus 1 whenever it's time to attack. I would give this even bigger props than that because of the way it plays. This is the best, I would say, tactical I can't say tactical because it's not using a board game or a grid view, but it's translating very well into how to play two people as a strategy game for a console. Now, granted, it's Intellivision that can do it because they have that the keypad to display them. So let's do this again. I'm going to bring up the keypad, and I want to do. Let's have the other player bring out a troop transport and a battleship, and then if we engage, do two ships come out? They do. So if you look down the bottom, I'm now moving as a fleet those two ships. So let's see what happens if we engage the second player's two ships with my one ship. And then as you get close, yeah, and then one person has to hit engage on their keypad. And once you engage, then you move into the attack view. So if I'm the second player, oh, this is awesome. So as the second player, they can push on their keypad which one they want to control. And then now I pushed battleship on the keypad. Now I can control the battleship and then attack using the control for the battleship on the other player. And then if I want to switch back, I switch back to the troop transport, pushing the correct button, and then I attack with them. And then now I can attack with the second ship. Wow. Yes, this is way next level. I'm amazed that this is able to happen. And I wonder how many ships you can do. Like, let's go crazy with it. Let's do a sub under the water. Let's do a destroyer. Let's do a battleship. Oh, and we can also lay mines, right? Trying to see. Oh, yeah, we pull out a mine layer ship, and we can lay mines. So let's see what happens if we deploy all those. Deploy. Okay, so I now have my fleet. Now, can I lay mines? Oh, if I lay mines... Oh, okay, you only pick 3 ships at once. So the mine layer was my 4th ship, and it won't work. So you can only do a max of 3 at a time. Can I do more? Can I deploy... and a mine layer? I don't think it'll let me do any more, because after you've made one fleet, then that fleet stays where it is. So let's do... Okay, let's try it again. Let's do create. Let's do mine layer. Sub. And deploy that. Oh, it does work. Cool. So it has another ship that I can control at the top. And then if I want to control the others, I bet I push the battleship or the destroyer to switch from one to the other. Maybe I can only do one at a time. There's a way to do engage or retreat on the left side. So, we played other tactical games and strategy games on the home computer. They require a manual, and they require a lot of time to work out which hotkey does what function. And so you would need to spend a lot of time to be able to get into the game. This one, you don't really need to spend as much time to get in and play. Especially if you have the manual. So we have the manual, we have the overlay over the keypad, but it's more intuitive to get into a strategy or tactical war game. So this is incredible. One of the best programmed games I've seen for the home space that you could play. Considering we played other tactical and combat simulation games, this one tries to combine both, and it does it on a home console. So I am... I don't know if we can go a full... because combat was 5, but this one is definitely a 5-star game. For all the games we played on Intellivision, mostly been sports, this one is beyond that because of how well it's translating something that could only be a board game or something on a computer into a console. So 5 stars for Sea Battle. That is the best of the best that you could play on Intellivision thus far. And for video games in general we played thus far. So well done, Sea Battle. All right, so with that, we're going to leave the evening on Sea Battle, but we will continue playing every single video game in order of release. Who knows what will be next? Join us next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.